Hello everybody out there in the internet and comic book world, and welcome back to another episode of Zenescope Advanced Preview Reviews. And in this episode I'm bringing you not one, not two, but 3 weeks worth of books. We're going through the weeks of the 10th, the 17th, and this upcoming week, the 24th, comic books. A lot of good books in this bundle that I'll be talking about, and a lot of things you guys might actually be interested in. However, I will not be including Robin Hood #1 because myself and my brother have already done an in-depth comic book review of it on Dark Avenger Inc. So if you guys are interested or are thinking about checking out the book and you want to hear a little bit about it, just scoot over to Dark Avenger Inc. and you can check mine and my brother's review out on it. However, if you just want, to know if it's good or not, I will say this: the book is amazing, the artwork is really good, the story is compelling. Can't wait for the next issue. It's a 5-issue long miniseries, and it is going to be, my prediction is it's going to be amazing. It's really good. Pat Chan's writing is amazing on it. I definitely would say check out issue 1. I know a few people have already and they love it. So there's your little tidbit into Robin Hood #1. So let's get into the books that I got from Zenescope this past weekend for these 3 weeks. Let's start off with the week of the 10th. Go in order. Only one book is advertised here for the 10th, and that is Grimm Universe #1. This is a brand new series Zenescope is starting, and it's going to be a bi-monthly series. So that means it's going to be coming out only 6 times a year. So it definitely, the $3.99 price tag on it is absolutely justified in my opinion, especially because it's twice a month. I mean, it's every other month. It's only 6 times a year. It's half the year you're getting this book, and it's got a lot of content, and it's really, really good. This issue, the title of this story is called Eye of the Storm, and let me give you guys the description really quickly. This brand new bi-monthly series features characters from the Grimm Universe in never-before-told stories. Issue #1 ties directly into the 2012 annual and the Grimm Fairy Tales Angel one-shot. As the Flesh Reavers descend on the people of Earth, an unlikely alliance forms between a trio of highborns who have only recently discovered their powers. In order to save the humans they defend and themselves, they'll have to master their powers in the heat of a life-or-death battle with no margin for error. In this book, you got, and this also, if you guys saw my interview with Pat Chan, he actually says that this also ties into stuff that's going to be going on in Godstorm, and Godstorm is it's the first story I started reading from Zenescope since working with Zenescope, and it is my favorite, my first favorite, because now I really like Robin Hood as well, and I do like others also, but Godstorm is my top favorite miniseries right now that's going on. Then there's Robin Hood. Grimm Universe was awesome. The full story is by Joe Bruscia, Raven Gregory, and Pat Chan. This story, Grimm Universe #1, is written by Pat Chan. The pencils and ink are by Jacob Bear and Rodrigo Ramos Rodolafo. I hope I said that right. Colors are by Roland Pilches and Mike Steffen. Letters are by Jim Campbell, and this is all edited by Matt Rogers. And guys, this is a story you guys aren't going to want to miss, and I'm going to tell you why. I'm going to give it to you in names. Hades, Neptune, Heather Angelus, and flashbacks with Zeus. This is stuff you don't want to miss. Everything I loved about Godstorm, and I'm probably showing you guys the first picture right now, and that's of Neptune. Everything I loved about Godstorm issue 0 was put in here, and there was added on material. Now, I didn't read the Angel one-shot. I did read the giant size 2012, but I don't think it's the same as the annual. I didn't get to read the annual, and I unfortunately didn't get to read the Angel one-shot. However, and it's the Grimm Fairy Tales Angel, not Angel from the TV show, just for those of you out there. Also, another thing that's featured in here, and I'm also showing that, is Pandora's Box, okay? Those things alone, if you have any interest in any of this, you definitely want to see this. You get to see Neptune versus Heather Angelus for a little bit. You get to see Hades in action. You get to see Heather Angelus in action. And like I said, really good flashbacks, and it really sets the tone, I believe. I understand how this now ties into Godstorm, because in Godstorm, issue number 2 has Neptune on the cover. I'm really looking forward to it. A lot of stuff happens in this book, and I would definitely, this is a book I would highly recommend you guys check out. Like it says, bi-monthly, so it's not like it's a monthly commitment. It's once every 2 months. It's worth the money, and the artwork is brilliant in it. The story is amazing in it, and I'm actually going to be doing an in-depth review of this sometime in the near future on Dark Avenger Inc. I really like this book. And that's it for the week of the 10th. We are now going into the week of the 17th, and I'm going to go in the order I got these in. First is Godstorm number 1. It's here. Finally, after issue 0, Godstorm is here. I loved issue 0. Let's see if issue 1 did the same. The story so far: for thousands of years, gods and goddesses have been living on Earth in human form. Most carry only good intentions for the human race, but not all of these deities have the same agendas. The goddess of beauty, known as Venus, who does make an appearance in this book, or Aphrodite, has begun to recruit other powerful gods and demigods to join her in a sinister plan to enslave mankind. It says here now, this won't be spoiling the book because it did come out this past week, and I've already read it, so that gives you guys a little, I'll be able to tell you guys a little bit more about it. In this issue, Julian is an enforcer for an up-and-coming crime boss named Tony Santinello, and I'll be showing you guys a picture of them now. But when Tony continues to disrespect and demean him, Julian discovers that his anger unleashes an unnatural power beyond his comprehension, and he just might be someone Venus is looking for. This book was really good. It continues the story. If you're looking for Zeus in this book, though, I have to be honest, Zeus only shows up for, and I'm going to make triple sure of that, his shadow in one panel and his full body in another. I'll be showing you guys the full body here, and the full body picture is awesome with the storm in the background and everything. The artist is amazing. Oh my goodness, I am so sorry. Let me tell you guys really quickly. The entire Grimm Universe is created and story by Joe Bruscia, Ralph Tedesco, Raven Gregory, and the writer Pat Shand, and written by, obviously this story is written by Pat Shand. Pencils are by Jason Johnson, colors by Ben Sawyer, letters are by Jim Campbell, and it's all edited by Matt Rogers. Jason Johnson's artwork is amazing, and Pat Shand's writing is awesome. This story completely focuses on Julian throughout Julian throughout the entire book. It's all the synopsis of in this issue basically covers it perfectly, and you know he's basically the enforcer to Tony. All he does is whatever Tony tells him. And then at the end of the book, he gets sick of it because he made a mistake in the book at the very beginning. And he actually just goes for a walk. They give you a little bit of a flashback of how Tony and Julian met. And, you know, as it said, he got mad and the first display of his powers came out. Who is Julian? Which god is Julian? We don't know yet. Although I have my opinions. I don't want to spoil it for anybody. But then at the very end, as I said, you get to see Venus, and that's where it's to be continued. And I love the last words, and since this book's out already, I can say it. The war begins at last. And the next issue they give you coming next month, the cover has Neptune on it. That's why I feel it's really connected to Grimm Universe. And the synopsis for next month, I can't wait. Guys, I love Godstorm. Godstorm is an awesome story, and if anything, issue 0 set up for issue 1, and issue 1 is setting up for issues 2 through 4. It's going to be an amazing ride. I wish this was longer. I wish they could have made this an ongoing series. I swear I would definitely buy this each and every month if they made this an ongoing. I don't know how Pat Shand would feel about making this an ongoing, and he'd have to write this for a long time, but this is a really good story. I cannot wait for issue 2 next month. I am literally on the edge of my seat. Can't wait. Really good, guys. I would definitely recommend you guys check out Godstorm number 1. It is in your local comic shops today. If not, you should definitely ask your comic shop owner to put you down for at least Godstorm number 1 and 0 and see if you really like the series. Okay, and another number 1 that's coming out this week is Sleepy Hollow's number 1, or Sleepy Hollow. issue 1. It's a 4-issue miniseries. Really interesting. Let me give you guys a synopsis. In the small town of Tarrytown, New York, the story of the Headless Horseman of Sleepy Hollow has become something of myth and legend. And this legend is about to become all too real. Student aide Craig Marsters, I believe it's Marsters, seems to have the world at his fingertips. He has a great head on his shoulders, a beautiful girlfriend, and an all too bright future. But there are those in this world who choose to take from others rather than earn their own way in life. And Craig finds he's in the crosshairs of those very people. Enter a world where morality is constantly tested and the shocking repercussions of one's choices must always be faced. Enter the world of Grimm Fairy Tales. The creators and stories are by Joe Brucia, Ralph Tedesco, and Raven Gregory. This story, however, is written by Dan Wicklin, and the pencils are by Ace or AC Osorio. Colors are by Chandran Panyusami, and the letters are by Jim Campbell, and it's all edited by Matt Rogers. And the synopsis basically is what the story is about. Basically, Craig Masters is trying to help, or he's actually assigned to tutor a football student to get his grades up, or else football student's going to get kicked off the team. Football student doesn't want to study, as you guys see from the panel I'm showing you. From before this, when I was reading the synopsis, I'll probably have the picture up of... actually, I'm going to show you guys, this is the football player. And as you can see, I remember the picture I picked. He's like, he doesn't care. He just wants to make a deal so he can get it over with. He doesn't want to study and anything. And then we have the main character, whom I'm showing you guys here, Craig, who, you know, he doesn't want to just, you know, give him the answers. He wants the guy to study himself. And everything looks great until the middle of the issue. Everything starts to flip around. His girlfriend has this thing. He read a note that she had dropped. And then it turns out the football player who, you know, wanted him to give the answers, you know, he's not taking no for an answer. And I'm going to leave it at that. In the end of the issue, let's just say I'm really eager to see what happens in issue 2, especially with what happens in the last page of this book. And the coming attractions for the next issue definitely make you want it more and more. Guys, I would definitely say check this out. If you're a Sleepy Hollow fan, if you're the Headless Horseman fan, you're going to want to see this new story of the Headless Horseman. The story was awesome. It feels like this story sets up for what's going to be happening in issues 2 through 4. It's just, you could tell that this was like, okay, this is what happened in the past. Here's the story of how this happened to this person, and now we're going into the actual story. Because at the beginning of the book, it actually says it's in Tarrytown, it's Tarrytown University 2005. So you got to wonder if down the line, you know, if in the next issue it'll actually jump more closer to the present day or into the like our year, and that's where the story will actually start taking off. But this was a good setup for the story. I would definitely say if you guys are interested, you should check this book out. Really, really interesting read. Can't wait to see issue 2. Also to note this week, Alice in Wonderland, the hardcover is now available in stores. I'll show you guys the cover really quick. I didn't take anything out of Alice in Wonderland. It's an older miniseries. It was a 4-part miniseries. It's all now collected in this beautifully put together hardcover. And the story, I did get to read through most of it, or skim through most of it. Unfortunately, didn't have time to read the whole thing. But really interesting. I'll give you guys really quick the stories written by Raven Gregory. Wonderland was created by Raven Gregory, Joe Brucia, and Ralph Tedesco. The pencils are by Robert Gill, Daniel Lester, Sheldon Gow, Vic Dragineu, and Martin Montiel. And the colors are by Jason Embury, Jeremy Colwell, Thomas Bonvillian, Ramon Ignacio Bungie, and Michael Garcia. Letters are by Jim Campbell. And the trade design is by Christopher Coit and Katie Hidalgo. and the trade is edited by Ralph Tedesco and Raven Gregory. And it reprints, let me correct myself. This volume reprints the comic series Grimm Fairy Tales presents Alice in Wonderland issues 1 through 6. It was a 6-issue miniseries. I apologize, guys. I said 4. I'm so used to the 4s because of the other miniseries that, yeah. But those are all that came out from the week of the 17th. Now we are going into the new books that are coming out this coming week. They are not out yet, but they will be on your comic book shelves this coming Wednesday, October 24th, 2012. Okay, and starting off this coming week's books, we have Irresistible, issue 4, the final issue of Irresistible. And I'm not going to be doing the story so far because I've been doing the story so far in previous episodes of my Zenescope Advanced previews, so you guys don't need to hear that. If you're interested in the story so far, definitely go back and check out when I did previous issues of Irresistible. But I will do the previously in Irresistible. When Alan's gift turned curse takes a more horrific turn, he looks for the being responsible for making him irresistible. But when he finally finds her, he learns that the only way to break the spell is by killing his one true love. Something he isn't willing to do. Or is he? The story is written by Raven Gregory. Pencils are by Darylis Santa Cruz. Colors are by Franco Risco. Letters are by Jim Campbell. And it's all edited by Matt Rogers. Artwork in this book is really good. I enjoy the artwork. Story-wise, it's pretty good with a very shocking ending. I will tell you guys that much. It's real shocking. And in the beginning of the book, you start to feel really bad for Alan because, you know, he's irresistible. No matter what he does, if he puts a hood on his head, if he changes his clothes, if he covers himself up, everywhere he goes, where there are women, it becomes like a brawl to get to him. And when it comes to the husbands, they want to kill him because he's the reason why the wives cheated on their husbands, because he's the person they cheated with. So things go from bad to worse to even worse. And then finally, I showed you guys the brawl that happened, one of the situations that Alan's in. Now I'm going to show you another picture where he's actually in his apartment and he's just debating whether he's going to really do it. He's looking at his dagger. He's like, can I do it? Do I have a, you know, is there a choice? He's like, there's always a choice. And, you know, you get to that point where, you know, in his situation, what would you do? And then the end of the book, like I said, I'm not spoiling anything because this book didn't come out yet, and I want you guys to check it out. By the way, there is partial nudity in this book, just letting you guys know that. But the ending of the book, the very last page, has a shock factor of whoa. And you go from actually, you know, feeling bad for Alan's character, and your emotions for him towards the end of the book will change and then go back to the way you feel. It's, you know, I don't want to spoil it. I'm just going to say it was a really shocking ending. Irresistible, the full series, issues 1 through 4, after reading this, I give, well, I've actually read from 2 to 4, I'm sorry, I didn't have the chance to read issue 1, but I would give the series a 3.5 out of 5 stars. It was an interesting read. You know, there were a few points in the book where you're like, you know, especially where Alan gets very whiny, an issue back and stuff like that. But the book is still an interesting read. Now, if you didn't check this book out, I definitely say to go back and check it out, or definitely check it out in trade. Next up, we have Grimm Fairy Tales, number 78, The Lockdown, Part 3. And as I said, I've already read the story so far, so let's get into previously in Grimm Fairy Tales. Seela makes a decision to step in and defend a young prisoner named Princess from a gang of inmates led by a girl they call Spider. Meanwhile, Warden Garland has taken an interest in Seela after observing her for a few days and calls her in for a candid chat. Later that night, while showering, Seela's attacked by Spider and her crew, but Seela gains the upper hand when she easily disarms Spider and then shockingly uses Spider's shank against her. And by the way, guys, this is all, the story is by Joe Bruscia, Raven Gregory, and Ralph Tedesco, but this story is written by Mark L. Miller. Pencils are by Ricardo Asnaya. Letters are by Jim Campbell. Colors are by Wesley Wong. And it's all edited by Matt Rogers. And yeah, this issue takes up right where the last issue left off. I thought, honestly, that she had killed Spider. It turns out that she might not have. And they're rushing Spider off to the emergency room. And as we all saw from the coming attraction, Sela gets put in solitary confinement. And then a nice chunk of the book, we don't know if she's dreaming or where she exactly is, but I believe she's dreaming. And you can tell because of the things, when you dream, you have those weird things that happen to yourself in a dream, and you have those weird situations that happen, and they definitely do. You get your nightmare part, and then she's dreaming about her daughter, an epic fight, and some other stuff like that. I don't want to give away what really happens. The artwork is really good in this book, and the story's equally as awesome. In the end, though, I will say this much. There might be, she might not be the only highborn in the prison, and might be up to her to find out who that person is. And that's where they kind of leave you off. And I can't wait for the next issue. It looks like it's going to be off the wall. I enjoyed this issue profusely too. I would definitely say, guys, I wouldn't say jump on this issue. I would definitely say to either wait until the lockdown's over. I believe the lockdown will end in the next issue or two, or just go back 3 issues and start from there. But wow, this story is really good. And it's like, especially with 78 issues down, 78 issues ago, I wish I would have jumped on this, because this is a really fun read. So, that's Grimm Fairy Tales 78. Now we're going into Grimm Fairy Tales Myths and Legends, number 21. And this is the final part to the Hansel and Gretel story arc, part 4 of 4. Previously in Grimm Fairy Tales Myths and Legends, the cast and crew begin filming their latest episode, complete with blood, gore, and other phony effects. But during a break, things get way too real as Gina discovers multiple crew members murdered and dismembered. Gina desperately looks for Hank to get out of the house, but finds him in the clutches of the woman responsible for the terror. This story is, as always, by Raven Gregory, Joe Bruscia, Ralph Tedesco, and Troy Brownsfield. This story, however, is written by Troy Brownsfield. Art is by Amanke Nahulepan and Ian Heyrula. Letters are by Jim Campbell. Colors by Mark Lewis. And it's all edited together by Hannah Gorfinkel. Story takes place right after where the other one left off. The artwork, I believe, changed in this book because, yeah, it definitely did change. But the story itself is still really good. The ending, especially where Hannah and Hank, where Hank and Gina find out about their dormant power and how it's sparked and everything, that was awesome. I'm showing you guys 2 panels of where they display their powers, and it's when they're together, and how they defeat the witch in the end was really good as well. However, they meet up with somebody else at the very end, and it doesn't look like he has good intentions for Gina or Hank. And that's kind of where they leave you off. So, yeah. I'm really looking forward to seeing... they're definitely going to show up again in the future somewhere. And next month, in Grimm Myths and Legends, we have The Summoning. I will give you guys that. Jumping on-wise, this book was definitely not jump-on friendly. However, next issue will be jump-on friendly. This book was definitely it was a very interesting read. Unfortunately, I jumped in halfway through the series. I jumped in on the last issue, and I missed out on the first 2 issues. But artwork's pretty okay, and the story is really good. If you guys want to go back 3 issues, you can, and you can check out the Hansel and Gretel story arc, or you could jump on next month when they start the new story arc, The Summoning. I would say this story was pretty much a... again, like a 3 out of 5 stars, just because I missed the first 2 parts, so I really can't judge the entire story. The ending definitely makes me wonder what's going to be coming in the future of the Grimm Universe. And I don't mean the book, I mean the entire Grimm universe in whole. Okay, next up we have two more books. Both of them actually are giant size. Let's start with this one. Grimm Fairy Tales, giant size, 2012. Story so far. For centuries it was assumed that fairy tales and fables were fictional stories passed down from generation to generation. However, that's not entirely true. Beings from 4 different realms linked to Earth do in fact exist. These realms are known as Mist, Neverland, Wonderland, and Oz. Those born of these powerful realms are known as highborns. Those with both human and highborn blood are known as false bloods. Each of these beings has some form of supernatural ability that sets them far apart from mortal man. And while many of these beings are good, there are many others who carry evil inside of them. Following the events of Grimm Fairy Tales number 50, Boulder and Blake must travel the 4 realms in an effort to reform the Council of Realms. The Council is a collection of highborns and false blood sworn to protect Earth at all costs. The 2 must find enchanted items inside an ancient chapel to help them locate the chosen successors. However, the evil and powerful highborn, Orcus, is also intent on finding and using these items for his own intentions. And throughout this entire book, that's exactly what happens. They try to reform the council. Boulder and Blake go crazy. There's epic fights. There is a scene with a character who's trapped in limbo. There are the queens from Wonderland. Everything is... It's a giant-sized, amazing journey. I'm showing you guys pictures of... Right now, I believe I'm showing you guys the one where it's a panel where they're saying, "And you think us worthy of this council, a disgraced fairy and a princess with no kingdom." The art, and that's really good. And then there's also, I believe in the same page, no, the page after, I'll show you guys that now. That's where the action starts. The action in this book is really good. The artwork's even is really nice. And oh, before I forget, I'm sorry, I almost forgot. I always forget to read because I run through the description. Story, as always, is by Raven Gregory, Joe Bruscia, and Ralph Tedesco, and Pat Shand. This whole book is written by Patrick Shand. Pencils are by Adam Cleveland. Colors are by Giuliano Velez. Letters are by Jim Campbell. And this is all edited by Matt Rogers. So this book is an adventure. That's exactly what it is, from very beginning to very end. And it actually... the repercussions are going to reach out throughout the entire Grimm universe. I just want to get to the end where it'll actually, I believe it says that. It actually says it's not the end. This is definitely going to go through the entire Grimm realm, I believe, as the year goes on. This was a really fun read. It was an epic. The fight scenes were awesome. The story was gripping. And, you know, I don't know why, but in my mind, I was thinking at the very beginning, because this is like my first giant size, especially with Boulder, I'm thinking Lord of the Rings because of the dwarf. But this was really, that's I think what kept me interested in the beginning of the book, and then the story just took hold of me and gripped me all the way to the end. It is, however, a, sorry, let me just go a little lower. It is, however, a $7.99 book. So I leave this up to you guys if you're interested or not. However, I will say this one was a really fun read. As you guys can see from the cover, which I showed before. Fights, adventure, knights, dwarves, warriors, griffins, humongous snakes, ancient relics, everything all mixed into one gigantic book. Definitely something you guys are not going to want to miss out on. And you really get attached with a lot of the characters in this book. I really did, at least. And that's up to you guys, like I said, because this is a $7.99 book. And finally this week, or yeah, this coming week, is a $5.99 book, $2 cheaper, or $2 less, I should say. And that is Grimm Fairy Tales Halloween Special 2012. For those of you that love collecting those Halloween specials, here it is for you. I'm only showing you guys one panel because, and I'm going to read the description of it, 3 teenage girls decide to visit a supposedly haunted cornfield on Halloween night. As they settle in, the teens begin to swap scary stories, and each girl intent on one-upping the other. But what they don't know is that there is truth to the legend of the haunted cornfield, and the three girls sit unaware of the horror that is watching them. The story is by Joe Bruscia, Ralph Tedesco, Raven Gregory, and Pat Shand. This book is written by Patrick Shand. Pencils are by Tizinio Zafari. Colors are by Chandran Panusami. It's written each story is different. There's several stories in here. Myths and Urban Legends, which is written by, I'm going to start again, Patrick Shand. Pencils are by Tiziano Zafari, and the colors are by Chandran Punsami. Island of Dolls, which is written by Raven Gregory. Pencils are by Eamon Amat, and colors are by Jeff Ballick. Are You There is written by Patrick Shand. Pencils are by Elias Martin. I'm sorry if I'm saying these names wrong. And colors by Jeff Ballick again. The Clown, which is written by Raven Gregory. Pencils are by Marcilio Salaza, and color is by Jason Embury. And finally, Jack the Lantern, which is written by Dirk Manning. Pencils are by Andrea Errico, and color is by Eric Arseniga. I apologize if I said any of these names wrong. Letters are by Bernie Lee, and it's all edited by Matt Rogers. And this is basically one of those campfire kind of stories. Three girls sitting around talking about different scary stories, and as you guys saw, there are 5 stories all mixed into one. Artwork changes. The main artist for the main book stays when it's the 3 girls, but then when they go into the different stories, the artist changes for the in their respective stories. And basically just telling scary stories. Each story, I don't want to get into all the stories, but in each story, you know, it ends with like the kind of like, you know, the horror story feel. And then at the very end, you get that shock factor that only Zenescope can bring you, that happy Halloween that only Zenescope can bring you. And that's how the book basically concludes. And I must say this was a fun read. Like I said, several different stories in one. But once again, these are like ghost stories. You know, you sit around the campfire, so to speak, and tell these different stories, trying to scare and one-up the people that you're telling the stories, that are telling stories, and that you're telling the stories to. You know, you try to one-up them with a different scary story or a different legend or whatever. And yeah, so I would definitely say I leave these last 2 books up to you guys. The Giant Size was an epic adventure with everything you can imagine, and the Halloween special is basically a telling of many different scary stories and an ending that, as I said, only Zenescope can do to wish all of you guys a happy Halloween. I leave it up to you guys. Giant Size is $7.99. Halloween special is $5.99. That is basically the only reason why I leave it up to you guys, because I know a lot of times, you know, the more expensive books, you got to choose which one you want. I'll be honest with you guys, I like both. I think both are really good, and they definitely are worth a read. If you have the money for it, definitely check them out. Really fun. I will be doing a review of most of these books, in-depth reviews, on Dark Avenger Inc. For Halloween, I have a special Halloween thing planned, so you might be seeing the Zenescope Halloween special there. And as I said, guys, definitely go check out the books that came out this week. A lot of them were really, really good. Ones that came out already, a lot of them were really good. Thank you guys so much for sticking with me throughout this entire advanced review. If you enjoyed this video, show YouTube you like this video by giving it a favor, because I don't do the thumbs up and down. Go check out Zenescope. I have all their links below. Comments, likes, dislikes, agree, disagree, questions, especially the question one. Feel free to leave as many, as big or as small as you want in the comments below. There's a subscribe button above this video, as well as on Dark Avenger Inc. If you haven't subscribed to this and Dark Avenger Inc., there's a lot of videos we're planning to bring out to you guys, and if you enjoyed this, you're not going to want to miss a thing, so definitely click that sub button, because there's a lot more stuff coming your way. Thank you guys so much for being here with me on this episode of Zenescope Advanced Preview. I'll see you guys really soon in another video. Take care, everybody. See you guys real soon.